It all kicked off at the annual HOA barbecue, a half-hearted neighborhood tradition with overcooked burgers, soggy potato salad, and some guy named Steve hogging the karaoke mic, butchering Sweet Caroline like it owed him money. I'd only been in the neighborhood 3 weeks, still figuring out who was who, which mailbox to avoid parking near, and how to smile through small talk. New guy, new start, you know. I was hopeful, maybe even a little naive. That is until I met Diane. She rolled into the barbecue like she owned the cul-de-sac, sporting a sash that screamed SAW, HOA, Empress SAW in glittery letters. Everyone chuckled, thinking it was a gag. Spoiler, it wasn't. Diane clutched a clipboard like it was a scepter, strutting around, dishing out verbal tickets for offenses like overgrown shrubs or tacky lawn flamingos. Neighbors just shrugged it off, sipping their warm lemonade. But I could feel her radar lock onto me the second she spotted my collapsible trash cans tucked behind my deck. Who greenlit SAW eyesores? She barked, loud enough to make the guy grilling hot dogs flinch. I laughed it off, said they were temporary, gone by dawn. But Diane? She was already snapping pics like a tabloid reporter. You clearly haven't read page 16 of the HOA handbook, she said, her tone dripping with the kind of superiority that makes you want to check your shoes for mud. I tried to keep it cool, but later, as Steve wailed through Leave VYN on a prayer, Diane cornered me. You're new, she whispered, her smile as warm as a tax audit. But this isn't a free-for-all. Follow the rules, or I'll make sure you learn them. Her eyes went cold, and I swear I felt a chill. Was she threatening saw me? I chalked it up to too much rose and HOA ego. But the next morning, I woke up to a nightmare. My trash cans weren't just tipped over, they were dumped saw. Their contents arranged in my field like some twisted art project of coffee grounds and banana peels. No note, no apology, just garbage. My Ring camera had the receipts. Diane, 5:43 a.m., in fuzzy purple slippers, looking smug as she orchestrated her trash masterpiece. This wasn't about bins. This was about power, and Diane had just picked a fight with the wrong neighbor. I figured she'd follow up with a snarky email, maybe a passive-aggressive sticky note. Instead, I got a citation packet taped to my door with neon green tape, like it was radioactive. Inside, 7 violations, each more ridiculous than the last. Unauthorized trash bin placement, lawn edging insufficiently crisp, even flagpole exceeds patriotic height guidelines. I'm not kidding, she cited me for flying a flag, saw too enthusiastically saw. By the time I read suspicious deck lighting, possible party VY best, I was torn between laughing and plotting. I dug into the HOA handbook. Me first mistake was not reading it sooner. It was 82 pages of bureaucratic nonsense, including rules on acceptable Christmas light warmth. Diane had this thing memorized like it was her personal Bible. Over the next week, she hit me with citations for everything. My mailbox was tilted. My wind chimes were too loud. Meanwhile, other houses sported jungle lawns and inflatable Santas in July, untouched. It was personal, and my neighbors noticed. Diane's got you in her crosshairs, muttered Jake from next door, handing me a beer over the fence. You're her new punching bag. I tried talking to her at the dog park, even though I don't own a dog. Diane, can we sort this out like neighbors? Her poodle, ironically named Freedom, yapped at me like I was a felon. Rules are rules, she snapped, her yoga pants emblazoned with tiny watermelons. If you can't hack it, maybe you moved to the wrong place. She spun on her heel and left me standing there, fuming. That night, as I shoved my trash back into its cans under a porch light that probably broke some rule, I realized this was a war of control. Diane was building a paper trail, gunning for some HOA endgame. But if she thought I'd roll over, she was dead wrong. Then I spotted it, a glint in my field like a lens catching the sun. At first, I thought it was a bird feeder on her property line. Nope, it was a security camera, mounted on a tree, aimed straight at my backyard. Not her fence, not her house-me porch, zoomed in like a sniper. My Ring footage confirmed it. Diane, 7:12 a.m., with a stepladder, a drill, and Freedom in a doggy backpack, installing her spy cam like a suburban Bon VY lane. I confronted her. Diane, you've got a camera pointed at my yard. She didn't blink. As a board member, I'm entitled to document violations, she said, oozing self-righteousness. She showed me screenshots of my patio chairs too close to the hedge. My Dula 20 IKEA chairs were now HOA fugitives. That's illegal surveillance, I shot back. She smirked. If you're not breaking rules, what's there to hide? I called the HOA president, a tired vet named Paul, who sighed like he was deflating. She's done this before, he mumbled. We'll talk at the next meeting. That was 3 weeks away. I was levying under a drone dictatorship. So, I gave Diane a show. I threw a fake illegal tiki party plastic parrots, jungle sounds on a Bluetooth speaker, and a kiddie pool stuffed with gnomes and lays. I waved at her camera, yelling, HOA violation, tropical overload. Diane called the cops. The officer, Rodriguez, took one look, chuckled, and said, Ma'am, this is a luau, not a crime. Neighbors roared. Even Paul cracked a grin. Diane's grimace could have curdled milk. Her next move? Puricaos. At 12:46 a.m., my camera caught her, dressed in black sweats and a reflective visor, dragging saw trash bins to my field. One by one, she dumped them rotten eggs, soggy cereal boxes, a torn shower curtain arranging the mess in a circle under my birdbath like a garbage ritual. Freedom trotted beside her, a headlamp on her collar like she was in a SWAT team. The smell hit me at sunrise. My field was a landfill crime scene. My neighbor Lisa strolled by, coffee in hand, and muttered, Diane's gone rogue. I had 2 choices, clean it up or fight fire with fire. I chose option 3, fight fire with a flamethrower. I sent the footage to Paul, who replied, Oh, hell. The HOA board went silent. They were scared of her. Diane didn't just enforce rules. She saw the rules, burying people in red tape and intimidation. So I went nuclear. I posted the video to the neighborhood Facebook group. Lost. One HOA board member, last seen dumping trash in my yard. Send help. The post blew up. Neighbors commented, She fined me for tulips. Someone added opera music to the footage. It went viral. Paul showed up, looking like he'd aged a decade. Take it down, he begged. The board's drowning in emails. I didn't because that was just phase 1. Phase 2. Operation Trash Return. With Lisa, Jake, and Tim self-dubbed the HOA Rebels, I boxed up every scrap of Diane's trash. Moldy bread, cat litter, a creepy old Cosmo magazine. I added my own flair, a busted jack-o'-lantern, a dead vacuum, and a note from Jake. Dear Diane, your trash took a field trip. Hope it had fun. My cousin, who runs a landscaping crew, brought his dump trailer. At 6:58 a.m., right before Diane's daily dog walk, we backed it into her yard, beeping like a construction site. Neighbors peeked out in pajamas. I waved at her Ring camera and shouted, Morning, Diane. You forgot your stuff, so I brought it back with interest. We didn't just dump it. We saw ether trash, my junk, all in a color-coded pyramid of pettiness. Freedom yapped like the HOA was crumbling. Diane stormed out in a pink robe, coffee sloshing, screaming, This is vandalism. I held up the HOA garbage policy, laminated. Just returning your property, ma'am, per the rules. Paul arrived, rubbing his temples. I need coffee for this, he groaned. Neighbors cheered. Lisa live-streamed it. HOA Empress gets her trash thrown. Diane called the cops again. Rodriguez sighed. They returned your stuff, ma'am. That's not a crime. It's karma. But Diane wasn't done. She went full scorched earth, sending a cease and desist from a fake law firm, Wilson Vostone. I Googled it, nada, just a word template. At the emergency HOA meeting, she pushed for fines, while VYing a receipt for a trash sale VYC she'd hired to dump in my field. I pounced. So, you admit it's your trash? She froze. I showed the fake letter and enhanced footage of her midnight trash parade. Then Tom dropped the bomb. Diane owned the HOA's trash contractor, pocketing thousands by fining neighbors and fixing violations with her own company. The room went quiet. Paul called a vote. Diane was ousted 9-1. Then came the bunker. Diane vanished for days, but at 1 a.m., we heard digging. By night 3, Jake texted, She's got a flashlight and tarps. Ma boss VY Bess. Binoculars confirmed it. Diane, in a camo VY sore, digging a massive hole. She covered it with a wooden platform, fake grass on top. Paul got a tip, no permit, and it was in a flood zone. City inspectors found a concrete vault stuffed with burned HOA documents fines, voided citations, proof of her scams. She was fined due law $4,000 for illegal construction. Her excuse? It's a compost garden. The inspector wasn't buying it. The final blow? Her husband, Mark, left her, taking freedom. He told Jake, "I'm done. I'm keeping the dog." Divorce papers cited community misconduct. Diane's social life tanked. Her healing circle was a ghost town. Then she called a local news show, pitching herself as a VY Tim. Big mistake. They aired The Trash Empress of Pinewood, with footage of her trash dumps, fake letters, and Mark saying, "Freedom's happier now." TikTok turned her into a meme. When you're the HOA, the trash, and the VY lane. The HOA banned her from meetings, a suburban exile. Diane, once the clipboard queen, now avoided eye contact, her reign reduced to a punchline. I hung string lights, added wind chimes, and flew a second flag just because I could. The HOA sent a thank you letter for exposing Diane's fraud. I framed it next to my tiki parrot. Diane's downfall wasn't just exilite, was obly VY on, from HOA tyrant to VY Ral joke. So what do you think? Was I too harsh returning her trash with flair? Or did Diane deserve every bit of that pyramid? Should HOAs have this much power? Or are they just playgrounds for petty dictators? Have you ever faced a Diane in your neighborhood? Drop your stories below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more tales of suburban showdowns.